It's prop bet season for the Locked On Rays podcast.
That's right. It's an annual tradition. We always get hyped up for it. There's going to be a little bit of a reward for whoever wins. So let's get started right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we're the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays, as well as all the other traditional podcasting platforms. You can also find us on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays, and reach out to us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Well, as we alluded to in the open there, prop bet season for the Locked On Rays podcast, our 2023 Rays and baseball prop bets. We have 11 to go through and marinate over and agree or disagree on. And as we like to do, have a little grand prize at the end between Ulises and I. Decided what dollar amount should be for the winner of this prop bets.
That's true. Or we can just make items. What do you want? If you win this,
yes,
what would Kevin Weiss like?
What I would like I don't think it's terribly expensive. I mean, we're talking, when I was thinking dollar price, I was thinking $25 to $30. Whatever you want within that threshold, maybe even a little bit more than that. We'll see. We'll see how successful the podcast is this year. But I would like a 5-pack of cigars. My favorites are Indian Head Rough Rider, Connecticut style, the 7-inchers. Those are my favorite. And I think those, if you ordered them online, it shouldn't, Connecticut style Churchill, I should say. I should be more correct on that. So 5-pack of those, I'd be a very, very happy man if I won those via this prop bet.
Sounds good. I like that. Maybe I can pick them up in Ybor City itself. So
there we
cool
go.
Too.
So what would you want if you somehow win this prop bet challenge?
Well, my favorite beer is You're My Boy Blue. I love that beer. So maybe a couple 6-packs of that would be hitting the spot real nice. So
okay,
that's
fair enough. Like. So beers and cigars, that's what we're fighting.
We're healthy.
For.
It's a healthy podcast, Kevin. Of course. Yeah.
We need some Built Bars to be mixed in with this challenge as well. And by the way, if any listener out there wants to send us our favorite beverage and or cigar, lockedonrays@gmail.com, and we'll send you the shipping address for that if you just want to treat us and give us a kudos of appreciation, if you will. So, all right, let's not waste any more time here. Let's get right into the prop bets. Ulises, you came up with a handful. I came up with a handful. So let's start running through them and have some fun with these and see if we agree or disagree. And then at the conclusion of the season, and maybe one of these prop bets, we won't really know. We may not know until, the first of 2024. But let's go ahead and get rolling with this.
Okay, so let's get that Excel right up there for you guys that are on YouTube. You can follow along. And why wouldn't you want to follow along on YouTube? And you hit that like button right now. It's free. And subscribe button as well if you haven't subscribed yet. So we got it all on the screen right there. So let's start with the first one, Kevin. Wander Franco will have the highest WAR on the team.
I will say, and this is just for 2023, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I will say yes, he will have the highest WAR on the team. I'll go a step further and say he accumulates at least 5 WAR in this 2023 season.
I like that. And you know what? We both agree. I think this is the breakout season. There's just no way that you're going to keep that guy down. So I'm going with yes as well. Very easy.
Follow up to that. Who do you think is second in WAR on the team?
That's a good question. It's a good question. I from the position players, I would hope it's Brandon Lau. I would hope
That's
it's
fair.
Brandon Lau. Yeah.
If I had to guess from the position player side, it's somebody who's batting 1 through 4 in the lineup on average or on opening day. You look to one of those guys for sure.
Or maybe
Okay.
if Siri just it becomes Kevin Kiermaier from 2015, then yeah, maybe he racks up so much more defensively that he might make that. So that would be fun.
That's fair as well.
Number 2, the stadium saga will end with a location confirmation. Dr. Seuss in the house before 2024. Yes or no?
I'm going to say yes. You got to start getting the ball moving on this. And this includes, it could be November of 2023, December of 2023, correct? I think that's maybe where it may happen or be revealed. So I'll say, yes, there will be some clarity with that issue.
Well, this is getting a little bit boring because I also agree that this is the year that you need to have some sort of resolution. I think, 3+ years to talk to civil engineering and get permits and architects and money, that takes time. So you need to have that sorted out probably before New Year's Eve or New Year's, right? Okay, number 3, over under 1.5 race starting pitcher will pitch more than 150 innings.
This is a tough one. I'm going to go out and say yes. Over 1.5 race starting pitchers will pitch more than 150 innings, and I'll give you the 2 names: Shane McClanahan and Zach Eflin. Those are the 2 right there.
That is okay. So you think Zach Eflin will be the Ryan Yarbrough?
I think Zach Eflin will be the Ryan Yarbrough or the not quite James Shields, but basically if you throw 160 innings nowadays, you basically get James Shields comparison. So I think he's going to be the clubhouse leader in innings pitched.
I think you've mentioned that before. When Zach Eflin was first signed, I made the comparison that everything that Ryan Yarbrough did last year, Zach Eflin did better. Hopefully that he does take the innings into consideration there. This is getting a little bit too much in the wavelength. Okay. Kevin, I also agree that there will be more than 1.5 pitchers on pitching more than 150 innings. So next one, Josh Lowe will have more plate appearances than Luke Raley. We might actually differ on this one.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Luke Raley here. And I don't know if it's just a hunch, a gut feeling. I think Luke Raley could really pop off and surprise some people this year, whereas I think Josh Lowe could and may experience some struggles, and you may have one of the younger prospects on his back a little bit. So, and I like the fact that Luke Raley, I feel like the Rays could be comfortable with him playing first base, with him playing in the outfield, with him DHing. I think it's his time as of right now. Is he going to have the higher career WAR than Josh Lowe? Most likely not, probably not. But I think this is the year where, and even if it's 20, 30 at bats more, I still think Luke Raley could really surprise some people this season. I mean, there's a reason why the Rays keep giving him that roster spot, and he's out of options, so the pressure's on too.
No,
the expectations are on.
No, that's true, and I don't think a lot of the fandom thought that he would be able to crack that opening day, but as time went on, and he just kept being on the roster and not getting cut, even throughout November, December, staying on the roster speaks highly of how they think about him. However, I'm going to go, yes, I do think Josh Lowe, this is the year, man. Like, this guy can't be that good in the minors and then just completely disappear in MLB. He shortened his swing. He talked to his brother. He is feeling good. If Topkin writes a couple articles about you during spring, that tells me that the front office is also speaking to Topkin, saying, "Hey, can you put this out there? How about it?" So I think the Rays feel really good about where Josh Lowe is for this season.
I don't know. Luke Raley, he also gives me a little bit of Logan Forsythe vibes, that he's just going to keep kicking around. Very
good one.
He might not have the skill set, athleticism, talent, or looks of Josh Lowe, but Raley's just a ball player and can find a way to grind through and stick around a little bit.
I think people are going to be surprised about on his outfield defensive work.
Yeah.
I think, they're pleasantly surprised. I think he's not just a clunker out there like we saw sometimes with Tommy Pham.
Right.
I think he actually is athletic.
Maybe
Okay.
not as quite mobile as Avi Garcia was, but in the mold of, hey, this big guy at 6'4", 250 pounds, he can move around a little bit better than everybody thought.
Yes, exactly. Good comp there. Similar. Over under 1.5 race player will go to the All-Star game.
Good question.
Over
well,
or under?
if I assume that Wander is going to be getting MVP votes and putting forth a 5 WAR, if not 6 WAR this season, I'm really bullish on Wander this year, despite the quad or whatever lower extremity issue that he's dealing with. I feel like there's got to be a McClanahan. One of the pitchers is also going to go to the All-Star game. And maybe it's just a byproduct of the All-Star game, if 30, 35 guys opt out, that, a second race is going to have to be chosen at some point. So yeah. I'll say yes, over.
I unfortunately for the pod, I have to say yes as well. But in reality, I don't think there can be 2 years in a row with this type of talent on the roster where you only see one race player go to the All-Star game. We all know Jason Adam was snubbed last year. Yes. I hope, like you do too, Wander Franco is headed to his first All-Star game. And you gotta think one race pitcher is going to be lights out. If it's Fairbanks, it's him. If it's a Garrett Clevenger, it's him. If it's a Jason Adam, hopefully a McClanahan, a Glasnow, a Springs, a Rasmussen, like one of those pitchers is going to be having a tremendous season, and hopefully they also get in.
Yeah. So, well, follow up to that. Do you think as many as 3 Rays players could be All-Star bound?
That would be tough.
Yeah,
that would be tough. I would not put money on that. I would love that, but just knowing the small market aspect and fan voting and all that, it would be tough.
That's fair.
Tough. Yeah.
All right.
Last but not least, on my side, Shohei Ohtani will be traded at the deadline. Yes or no?
Well, Artie Moreno, Angels owner, says that as long as the Angels are competitive, that Ohtani will still be on the roster. And I know that Pacoda and some of the projection systems have the Angels, being around an 86, 87 win team and finishing second in the division. I mean, I'm never going to put money or trust in the Angels. And I feel like I guess the question is, do the Angels legitimately think that they can keep Shohei Ohtani after this season? Can they lock him up to a long-term deal, or is he going to the Dodgers, or by God, the Yankees, or the Padres? Some major market player like that. Not that the Angels aren't a major market player, but maybe Ohtani's like, hey, at some point I want to try to make it to the playoffs and win a World Series ring, which is understandable. So I would say yes, he will be traded at the deadline. And I feel like that's where you're going to get the most value for him, as opposed to in the off season, or you lose him out after the season and you get however many compensation picks for him.
Yeah, I mean, this is, and I don't care what anybody says. If you disagree, write it down in the comments section on YouTube. This is the most talented human being to have ever played the game of baseball. Punto. I mean, he just is. I mean, nobody literally has done what he has done. And don't throw me Babe Ruth because he was hitting 75-mile-an-hour meatballs by guys who sold mattresses on the side. Okay. Yeah. Like, come on. This is completely different. He is just the best player to have ever played the game. Longevity-wise, career-wise, we can get into that argument. But talent-wise, number one. So if you know that about him, how would you not trade this guy instead of just getting a comp pick after the qualification, the qualifying offer at the end of the season? I just don't see how you do not trade him. And especially because I don't believe in the Angels being competitive. I'm sorry. That's a tough division with the Mariners, and the Houston Astros are already going to the
Right.
ALCS. You know that. So I just don't see it, man. I really don't. So I got to go with he will be traded.
That's the beauty of this podcast. It's not like, hey, you got to pick a side. I got to pick a side. Like, we're running through this authentically and what our true feelings and views are. By the way, on Ohtani for a second, I know the long-term health is a question, but if you've got the money, hey, we'll give you $280 million over 5 years, like 50, 60 million AAV over a handful of years. You do that just based on what he provides and brings to the table there. We have more prop bets to get to. Maybe we'll have a little bit more disagreement here to spice this thing up. And I guess if we end up having the same exact, well, we'll cross that bridge when we cross that bridge, but we're just having fun with this as it is. And you're more than welcome to chime in on the comments and give your perspective, or, these prop bets are living documents. So this Google sheet is a living document in the sense that if you have a really what you consider to be a novel prop bet idea or one you want us to banter about, we'll add it to the list. And, who knows, by the end of the year, we might have, 20 prop bets that we're going through and mulling over and deciding upon. This is just kind of a starter pack, if you will. And then as we move along in the season, sometimes we'll just say, hey, random episode, I got a prop bet for you. Let's put it on the board. So just want to throw that out there as well. If you want to reach out to us, hit us up on social media, Twitter, Instagram, or lockedonrays@gmail.com. In the meantime, we have to tell you about something very important, and that is LinkedIn Jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and, believe it, for free. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster, like I said. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonmlb. That's linkedin.com/lockedonmlb, LOCKEDONMLB, to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, moving along in our prop bet exercise here. Those first handful, Ulises, you came up with on your lonesome, and this next set is what I came up with as we go through with this. So I'll ask you to start. One or more Rays players will hit at least 30 home runs this season.
Are they getting that Aaron Judge New York Yankees baseball, or are they getting the Tampa Bay Rays truck baseball?
That's a question for you to ask the Rays front office and analytics staff, and maybe send a text message to Bud Selig. I can't answer that for you. I don't have that intel or insight, quite frankly.
Yeah. I gotta go with no. I just don't see it. If anybody hits 30 or more, it has to be Brandon Lowe. And then afterwards, I mean, Randy has shown that he's kind of like a 20 home run sort of guy. Can he have more? Can he hit 30? Sure, but I'm not going to bet on it. Can Paredes have the pop to hit 30? Sure, but will he have enough at bats? I don't know. I don't think so. Josh Lowe, Luke Raley, same thing. Will they have enough at bats? I think I have to go with no.
I also, again, I know it's not very fun to agree, but I'm also going to say no. I think what the Rays really need to bank on and hope for is, don't just expect Brandon Lowe to come back from this back issue and go gangbusters and knock out 35 or 38. You just need to rely upon a handful of guys to give you, somewhere between 14 to 20 home runs, and hope you can get through with that. So, yeah, unfortunately, as much as I like Luke Raley, I don't think he's going to get 30 this year either, nor is Josh Lowe or Brandon Lowe, whatever it may be. Yeah. Next question. or prop bet, one or more Rays relievers will have 20 or more saves.
This is such an easy no for me. They don't have that closer role. They like whoever is the best matchup. One day is going to be Jason Adam, the other day is going to be Clevenger, and the next day is going to be Fairbanks, and the other day is going to be Beeks, and the other day is going to be Poche. So yeah, this is an easy no for me.
I'm actually going to say yes, and it might be right at 20, but I think Pete Fairbanks gets 20 saves. He has that contract extension. Hopefully he can stay healthy with that. Of course, he has the look, the demeanor, the stuff to be the de facto closer. Not saying that he's going to get every single save opportunity. I'm sure that, Jason Adam will get, 8 to 10 saves, whatever it may be, and maybe somebody else as well. But I do think that maybe they'll push the envelope a little bit with Pete Fairbanks to get his 20 saves at least. So
Okay.
There we go. We have a little bit of a difference there. Yeah. Here, we're rolling along. One or more Rays players will have at least 40 stolen bases this year.
Because you say one or more, I got to go yes because of Jose Siri.
Okay.
I mean, El Rayo, he just stole home on a spring training game. Like, this guy's intense. Like, he wants this. He's the kind of guy that he knows what he's good at, and he's not going to be afraid or shy about showing those skills that he's really good at. So yeah, I will say he will have at least 40 steals.
Does he get on base enough and enough reps to do that batting in the 9 hole?
Good question. Very good question. Yeah, that's the risk part. That's the risk.
Yeah. I'm going to say no. I think Randy, despite the bigger bases, he did have 32, something along those lines.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I could see him having a similar marker. I also think that the coaching staff is really going to emphasize, hey, not every time you're on base means Verde, green light here. We got to be smarter about the things we pick and choose. But I would say that, more than one Rays player could get 30 plus stolen bases. I could see Randy and Siri get 30 plus, and then, add in Margot could get 20 plus. But I'll be interested to see how this year shakes out, but I'm going to say no, just for the sake of argument.
Fair enough.
This season. All right, next question. Next prop bet. The AL East champion will have at least 95 wins, 95 dubs to be crowned the AL East champ.
I don't like this one. I'm going to go yes. Yes. I think, you're going to have to go 95 or more to win this division. Yeah, I'm going to go yes.
Who is that team?
I mean, I do want it to be the Rays. I think the Rays have the talent to do so. I am not going to keep giving the Jays props without them showing up anything. Again, the movie was real quick. It was quicker than the trailer. Every time you go to the playoffs, you get swept either by the Rays or the Mariners. So no, I'm tired of the props that the Jays get because it's on paper. I'm done. Just like the Dominican Republic got so much props because of their lineup, and literally almost everybody beat them. So
hey, games aren't played on paper. Look at the Final Four. We got Miami and FAU in the thing.
Exactly. So I'm gonna go and say 95.
Okay, I'm going to say no. I think the AL East, the competition between the Rays, Blue Jays, and Yankees will be mighty, mighty tight. And I know that the opponents, the division opponents aren't playing each other as much, but I still think it'll be a battle and a grind, and that division could be within a game or two. Now, maybe that I think the AL East champion could have 93, 94 wins, but again,
sure,
the question is at least 95. So I'm going to say no there. Now, to end it, you can't have a prop bet episode without an attendance question or comment here. Over under 14,999.5 fans per game on average at the Trop this year.
Can I ask why you picked that number?
Well, I just think 15,000 is a good barometer based on past history. Last year the Rays averaged under a shade under 14,000. You've seen, between 2015 to 2019, it's kind of hovered between 14 and a half to almost 16,000. So I just kind of picked that out of a hat.
Okay, good to know. I'm going yes. This team is going to be way more entertaining than last year. Hopefully less injuries, and the $10 tickets, the ones for standing room only or buy $49 a month, which equates to like what, 250 something to get the standing room only. I think that'll kick up attendance, which is great. So yeah, those factors, I'm gonna go say yeah, they'll go over that.
Despite gas prices and inflation, I agree with you. I think they'll average at least 15,000 per game this year at the Trop. I think they've done a solid job with making the games affordable in some shape or form. I think the 25th anniversary and some of the cool promos and ideas that they have running should add a little pizzazz. I will note again, last year they averaged 13,927 fans per game. In 2021, 9,396. 2020, of course, the COVID season, so a little bit tough to gauge that. But you just look back at the attendance numbers. They're hovering around that 14.5 to 15.8 marker, between 2015 to 2019. But I also think some resolution and some solidity in the Rays, their future is in Tampa Bay. That's been established, whether it's on the St. Pete side or the Tampa side. I think that also brings about a little bit of confidence as well. There's not as much vitriol and, hey, I'm not giving Stu another dollar. I think some of that rhetoric and some of that action goes out the window. So yeah, I think they'll draw more this year. Will they draw 16, 17,000? I don't know if I'm willing to go that far. We know the home opener is a sellout, but
yeah, it is sold out. But you know what? You can always bet on Built Bar being delicious, Kevin. You can always do that. And in fact, the Built March Madness bracket is here. Like you mentioned, we know that everybody has a favorite bar or puff. I will be voting for the Brownie Batter Built Bar because it's my favorite. And if you want the Rays to win, then you'll be voting for that bar too. So you got to support your team. You got to support your bar or puff. So when you vote for your favorite bar or the puff, you will be entered into a drawing where 50 lucky Locked On listeners will get a free box of Built. Not only that, Kevin, but one Locked On fan will win at least a 12-month subscription to Built to have Built's best bar or puffs delivered monthly straight to their door. So you got to try Built. Built is the best protein bar ever. They're amazing. They're covered in 100% real chocolate. They are good for you. They're low in calories and high in protein. So run to builtmarchmadness.com right now to vote for your favorite bar or puff and pick up a box while you're there. You can vote every day in March and it's about to end. So hop in and support your pick.
To recap here, can we bring up the prop bet list here? So we disagree on 4 of these 11 prop bets. Okay.
Correct.
So again, this is a shout out or a call out to the listeners. If you have a prop bet idea or multiple ideas, shoot them our way and we can add them to the list. I'd like to have a little bit more diversity in our disagreements or agreements here. So I'm sure there's more out there.
And you can even drop it in the comments and then we can add it to the Google Sheet, or you can use the hashtag Locked On Rays. I'm going to shout out Melissa for always using the hashtag Locked On Rays. She's awesome. Get on that hashtag Locked On Rays and then give us a prop bet. And then that'll be an easy way to track all the Locked On Rays prop bets on Twitter.
Yeah. If we don't get a chance to mention this before the home opener, do want to give a shout out to James Shields, who will be honored on the Rays sold out opening day. He'll be throwing the Rays ceremonial first pitch on Thursday, of course, at the Trop. And man, oh man, I don't think we quite appreciate, or the fan base doesn't appreciate enough, how much James Shields provided for this franchise. And I know it was a little bit of a different era, but you look at his numbers and what he brought to the table not all that long ago, and you knew year in and year out he was going to give you 200 plus innings. I mean, spending 7 of his 13 years with the Rays, 10 seasons of 200 plus innings, started over 400 games, over 2,200 strikeouts, 31 career WAR. I think, check my math on this or check my stats on this, but I think he was a 13th, 10th round draft pick. I mean, a mid-round draft pick to make it to where he did. I think a really solid choice for the Rays to make him or have him throw out that ceremonial first pitch on the Rays' 25th anniversary.
And, BA has always said this, that bulldog mentality of James Shields. He started that, man. I know a lot of people give Casimir hey, our first great Devil Rays / Rays pitcher. And sure. Okay. But James Shields was something above that, I think not only in quality, but in clubhouse presence.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at what that team became, especially with the rotation, remember jumping all up and down near the mound when they had a victory or a complete game, when somebody had a complete game in 2012. That camaraderie, I think, has actually kept on the locker room with guys. You go from James Shields to a David Price goes to Chris Archer, a Chris Archer goes to Blake Snell, a Blake Snell tells Tyler Glasnow, and Tyler Glasnow now tells Shane McClanahan. That vibe just keeps going down the road, and I think that's awesome. Good for him, and hopefully, I love Kyle Snyder. If Kyle Snyder ever leaves the Tampa Bay Rays for a better job opportunity or whatever, James Shields, I think, would make a heck of a pitching coach. I think that would be really, really cool to see. So hopefully he gets that opportunity someday. I
certainly don't think he needs the money, but what's funny, and I don't know how often, so James Shields, he pitched for the Rays from 2006 to 2012. And, whether there was a hot shot young prospect like David Price, or you mentioned Scott Kazmir, Chris Archer, like along the way, there's been guys with, more profile. We're always talking or focusing on the next name. Who's the next guy? Oh, Taj Bradley's the next guy. Yeah. After that, it's somebody else. But James Shields was always that stalwart in the rotation. He may not have always been the number one, but you could count on him and rely upon him to post and be there and to provide a presence. And that was very, very important for the Rays. So good on him. And hopefully I would assume he'll throw a strike on that ceremonial first pitch there as well.
Of course, either a fastball or a changeup. Maybe he goes changeup. That'd be cool. Just one thing before we end the show. I know we've run long, people, but yeah. I did promise this. We did cross the 700 line for the subscribers on YouTube. Thank you so much to everybody that keeps on hitting that subscribe button. Keep doing so if you are listening to us and you haven't subscribed. I do want to give a shout out to Joseph Herman. Let me just double check that. Joseph Herman. Yes, you were number 700. So I want to say thank you to you and hope you keep enjoying the podcast. So there you go.
We have some haters, but we have a lot of lovers as well and enjoyers of the podcast. So we appreciate all of you, all 700 plus of you on YouTube and the thousands more that listen to us every day. So that is very much appreciated. And I think something that Ulises and I pride ourselves on is we're not, we don't have this, we're better than you attitude. Like, you reach out to us, you send us an email, we try to get back in touch with you. We just did a fantasy draft this past week where we invited everybody to, hey, let's chat, let's have fun, let's shoot the crap a little bit. And we will actually probably have to save that for Friday's episode, or sometime next week to get into our results and just how we think that 16 team Locked On Rays fantasy draft went. We're running long here, so we can't really get into that, but we try to be as accessible as possible and just we're just two, what we think, regular dudes, so and if you have an issue or disagree with us on something, we're always here.
Yeah,
I'm not hiding.
and we're always going to be able to open to feedback and all that. As long like our friend Evan Klosky says, as long as you're
Yeah.
respectful.
As
If
long
you're
as you're respectful, and quite frankly, I think this should almost be a federal law. You must have a picture of your face as your avatar on social media. I think
yes,
that needs to be a requirement.
I think we would all like that, because you can just be real you real brave when you have an anime picture or an avatar
Yeah.
of something, and so I'll just leave it at that. If you can be real brave,
I
but
assume you're a bot if you have if your avatar is anime or some caricature,
yeah,
whatever it may be, or hey,
have
keyboard
have
warriors out there.
be actually brave. Put your face out there. It's okay. We're
Okay.
doing it.
We
I'll say
are,
that.
for better or worse.
Yeah.
So there it is. Hope you all enjoyed the prop bets. You can send more to us if you would like. In the meantime, thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Now make your second listen, the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast. That is also free and available on all platforms. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.